Awesome.
Welcome to the Shutdown Stories, episode 5. I'm here with Loma Nazarene University track athlete Gianna Tesone. Gianna, thanks for coming on. Good to see you.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me. This is exciting.
Yeah, so you are in a pretty tough spot right now. You lost your senior season to the coronavirus shutdown. What was going through your head when you first found out that you weren't going to be able to run this spring?
Lot of mixed emotions. I don't know. It's really hard to say like one thing or another with complete confidence. I was injured the last year and a half. I redshirted my junior year. I was injured kind of half of my sophomore year. So coming into my senior year, I was really excited and really hopeful of, what I was ready to accomplish and like ready to, just like make this my year, and didn't really have any expectations on it, but I was really excited. I was really hopeful. And then this hit, and it was tough, really, really tough. I think I definitely got to a point of surrender after have gone through so much injury and so many reoccurring circumstances of just being kind of like stripped of these comforts that I had. But no, it was really hard coming to terms with, the loss of my last year of undergrad track. So a lot of emotions came with that, and I still am kind of processing everything in waves. It'll come and go for sure, but I, on a different side of that, my body doesn't hurt anymore. I was putting my body through so much. I am a really competitive person, and I like to push the limits. So I wouldn't really stop when, I was feeling aches and pains. So now that I'm being forced to stop, I'm healing, which I think was really needed, but it doesn't make it any easier, Also really tough. So.
Yeah, definitely. There were a lot of videos on social media going around of different spring season teams around the country doing certain things just as they found out the news, whether it was letting their senior jumpers do one last jump or kind of inter-squad races. Did you guys have a chance to do any of that?
We kind of in the wake of all this, we all met as a team for dinner, and all just kind of talked and hung out. And unfortunately, it hit right before we were about to host our 2 big home meets, which is our favorite time of year. And so that was a really big bummer. And our coach was really bummed out about that because he's been coaching for 30 years, and this is something he looks forward to every year. I mean, we didn't necessarily hold anything for the seniors, but apart from the team dinner, a few of my teammates and I met out on the track one day during our allotted practice time, and we just kind of hung out and talked, and then cried quite a bit. And then at the end of every practice, we do a breakout, Loma on 3 or whatever, like at the end of our team meeting and the end of our team prayer. And usually seniors call that out. I'm getting emotional thinking about it now. But yeah, we all huddled up, and then we broke out, and I called it, and went Loma on 3, 1, 2, 3, Loma. And I just like started sobbing after that. I'm like, wow, that was just really surreal. That was, it was the smallest thing. Like you don't realize like things like that, like your little team rituals are like forever gonna leave like an impact. Um, yeah, that I think like those moments are gonna stick very clearly in my mind for a
Mm,
while.
that's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, but I mean, I haven't really gotten to compete or, you know, do anything, you know, competition wise as a last. So, but yeah, really, really interesting things.
So you're in a bit of a unique situation where you have your art to fall back on, and I see everything that you post on social media. I see all the work that you put into that. Quarantine really doesn't keep you from doing stuff like that. So how has that kind of helped you cope, knowing that you can still do at least part of what you love?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I some of my first thoughts with quarantine was like, okay, how am I going to create? Like, I don't have a space big enough to like put all of my, you know, materials up on the wall. And it really kind of forced me to get creative with it because this is so important to me. My art practice is a very, very important part of coping in this time. And I got creative. I live in a studio. And so I got to this point, I was like, all right, what do I need to kind of move around and sacrifice so I can, you know, make this space for myself? I have a big enough closet that I just put my bed in the closet, and then and then I have this like corner back here, like set up with all of my materials. I have a big canvas up on the wall, and I created this space for myself to um, just be and create in quarantine, and it's really given me like a lot of um, time to like fall back on and like to ground myself. And I'm definitely taking care of like my mental and emotional health when I can't be um, you know, dealing with that kind of thing physically, like at practice or, you know, in my sport, because that was a really big um, way of managing stress and releasing anything that was built up. So yeah, I got creative and just made the most out of the circumstance. So
Did you already have a bunch of projects lined up that you were working on in your studio, or has the quarantine kind of inspired you to change a path or work on something different or put a few things on the back burner?
a little bit of both. I had one project that I had I'm needing to finish. I'm in the process of finishing it. And now creating this space like a studio dedicated to making art, I'm able to like stay in a better mindset to dedicate like more time to this project. And then I'm also like very inspired about this whole situation and like kind of cranking out new ideas, and I'm journaling every day, and like things keep popping up into my head. I'm like, okay, I have all this time and headspace to like really dedicate to these new inspirations that are coming up. I'm not as busy as I was prior to all this. So it's cool. I'm able to dedicate time to both old and new. It's cool.
Can you share any details about some of the new stuff you're working on, or is that has to stay under wraps?
I can talk a little bit about it. Yeah. Um, well, I've been working a lot on really big canvases, really big surfaces, like those that I have to like put a lot of gesture into and a lot of like my body movements into. Um, so that's been really fun. I just have like a bunch of paint on the canvas right now. It's not really transforming into anything quite yet, but I'm just allowing myself to, like, as I'm painting, to be like thinking consciously about kind of where my head's at, and like using it as a vehicle of expression, and just allowing myself to be, not putting any kind of pressure on, you know, trying to make something pretty or, you know, or something that other people want to see. Like, this is just this safe space for me to process and be. And it's been really fun, honestly. Like, kind of scary coming to terms with like all these thoughts now in the quiet space, but like definitely really revealing of like where my head's at. And now I have this space to deal with things that I put on the back burner for so long. So excuse me. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm having fun with it.
So you're still in San Diego right now, but we were talking off air, and you told me that you were heading back to Denver soon. What is that transition like, and what does the next few steps look like through this whole shutdown?
Yeah. Well, my rent goes through the end of April, and I had kind of planned to stay through April as it was, and I had conversations with my family, and they wanted me to come back earlier, like a week or two ago. And I told them, like, no, there's been so much change and so much abrupt transformation in the last, 2-3 weeks that I need this space to process. Like, I need this time of stability just to, enjoy San Diego from my windows. I can't go out and really do anything, but San Diego is a really special place to me, and I need to be here for this time, before I do graduate in August now, not in May, but I made the decision just to be here for a little bit while, and then going home is just going to be a new time of rest, and just to be with my family is going to be really important. Before stepping into, this next phase of life, whatever that looks like. But it's bittersweet because I love it here and I don't want to leave, but both realistically and, financially, it makes sense to just go back home for a little bit. And just missing my family in Colorado.
So obviously you're not the only person who lost a season to this, but your story is incredibly important anyways. And I think the way you're coping with it is really impressive, and how you're just kind of giving yourself that space. What advice would you give to other athletes who are in your situation, who have also lost, maybe not their senior seasons, but lost a season of competition where they felt like they could break out and they had that hopefulness that you had?
Yeah. I would say press into the adversity and embrace the uncertainty and the discomfort, because as athletes, that's what we're trained to live in. To get better, we need to break down, and we need to live in that moment of pain, whatever it looks like, physical, mental, emotional, or we're not going to see progress, and we're not going to see the results that we want. And this time is testing, and it's practice for something greater to come. I firmly believe that, and it can look different for anyone and everyone. Like, I was running at a D2 university. I wasn't training for the Olympics. I didn't necessarily miss out on a career, but I definitely experienced loss from something that I've been doing about half my life. And it's a hard thing to let go of nonetheless, but I just want to encourage people to press into this time, because adversity introduces you to yourself. You learn a lot about yourself in this time, and I know I have, and it really reduces you down to the essence of who you are, and eliminates distractions and a lot of things like external voices that had been just distracting in the past. So press into the adversity and sit in the discomfort embrace it because it's necessary. As hard as it is, I think it's very necessary. So.
Well, really awesome, powerful advice, Gianna. Your story is just crazy. I think it's awesome how you're handling this whole thing. And I know that you're going to come out stronger on the other side.
Thanks. I think so. Sometimes it's hard to see it, but I've been through enough to say that God provides and He's faithful, and like your strength will carry you through. And we all need to come together in this kind of time and just trust that things will get better, which they will. So.
Well, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you taking some time to chat with me. This has been episode 5 of the Shutdown Stories. Keep an eye out every Monday and Thursday for new episodes coming each week.